Hello and welcome. This tutorial is designed to give you a brief overview on how to use Transferito to migrate your WordPress website. Over the next few minutes, we will show you how to create your migration details, use them correctly and migrate your WordPress website from start to finish. The first part of this video will show you how to correctly create your FTP details. In Step 2, we will walk you through how to create your database details. In Step 3, we will walk through a full migration. In this example, we will use a hosting provider that uses cPanel to create your migration details. Let's scroll down to the Files section. Now we are in the Files section. We can see the FTP accounts icon. Now if we move our mouse over to the right-hand side of the page, where we have our cPanel hosting statistics, you will see that we have not created any FTP accounts. So let's go and create one. First, let's enter a name for our FTP username. We'll use testftp. cPanel automatically defaults your username to become your FTP path. Please check that the path is correct. In this example, the path is public HTML. So let's remove the auto-generated path and enter public HTML. Select public HTML. Now we'll use the password generator to create a secure password for this FTP account. We'll copy the generated password into notepads so we can use it later. Click on the checkbox. I have copied this password into a safe place. Then click on the Use Password button. Now click on the Create FTP Account button. Perfect. You have created your first FTP account. Let's get the rest of the FTP details needed for your migration. Click on the link, Configure FTP Client. Then we'll copy your FTP information into Notepad. Save these details as we'll be using them later. Now it's time to create the database details we will use for your migration. Let's scroll down to the database section. As we can see in the statistics on the right-hand side of the page, we haven't yet created any databases on this hosting account. So let's create a database. You can create a database using this link, but in this example we'll use the database wizard, as it's a little bit easier. Enter the name of the database you want to create. We'll call this database Migration Test. When you've finished entering the name of your database, click on the Next Step button. Now let's create a database user. We'll call this user Migration Test User. Once you've entered the database user's name, let's generate a password, but first let's copy the name of the database and store it somewhere safe. Let's generate your database password now. Once you've generated your password, open Notepad and add your password to the current Notepad file, as we will also be using this later. Then click on the checkbox, I have copied this password in a safe place. Then click on the Use Password button. Click on the Create User button. For this example, we will click on the checkbox, All Privileges. Before we click on the Next Step button, let's copy the database username to our Notepad file. Now that we've saved all the database details that we need for our migration, let's click on the Next Step button. Great! You've just created a database and a database user. Clicking on the link under Primary Domain, we'll open our destination server URL in a new window. Copy the destination server URL and paste it into our Notepad file with our other migration details. Now we have all the details we need to start our migration. On the left-hand side of the page, hover over the menu item Transferito. Then click on the Start Migration link. We can see our destination URL starts with HTTPS. So, let's select that from the drop-down menu. Then paste in the rest of the URL. Then click the Continue button. Transferito has automatically selected cPanel as our migration method. We'll use FTP as our migration method, so let's select it and click the Continue button. Now it's time to enter your FTP details. Let's open our Notepad file with our migration details and move the FTP details into the correct order. Then move Notepad to the bottom of the page. The port is 21, so we can leave the FTP port as it currently is. We can also see that it is FTP, so let's also leave the server connection type. Let's now copy the FTP server. We will input the FTP server into the FTP/SFTP host input field. Let's do exactly the same for the FTP username. Lastly, let's copy the FTP password. Now you've entered all of your details, the Continue button will be enabled. Click the Continue button. Once your FTP details have been validated, you can select the directory. In this example, as we are starting with an empty site, there will not be any directories, so we can just click Continue. Let's enter your database details. We'll start by copying your database name and pasting it into the database name field. Next, we'll copy your database username. Then paste it into the database username field. Lastly, we'll copy your database password. Then paste it into the database password field. Then click on the Continue button. Once your database details have been validated, your migration will start. Backup preparation has been completed, and your backup will complete shortly. Next, your WordPress backup will automatically download to your destination server. Download completed. We're nearly there. Your backup will then be extracted. Once your backup extraction has completed, your database will be installed on your destination server. And that's it. Congratulations! You have successfully migrated your first WordPress website using FTP.